Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Ross Johnston. In NFL news, Lions safety Brian Branch attempted to appeal his one-game suspension from the league due to the scuffle at the end of the Chiefs game, but the suspension was upheld, so he will be out this weekend. The Chiefs, on the other hand, get a weapon for Patrick Mahomes back in wide receiver Rashee Rice as his 6-game suspension is over, and he is expected to play this weekend. The Commanders placed newly signed edge rusher Drake Jackson on injured reserve, as it is reported by Adam Schefter that it was their plan all along to do so. Also, Ian Rappaport reports that Buccaneers wide receiver Mike Evans is expected to return to practice today. Lastly, in Titans news, Mike Vrabel and the Patriots signed tight end Thomas Odukoya to their practice squad as he was with the Titans for the past 3 seasons on the practice squad and as their international pathway player. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. I hate you, Joseph.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. Got a lot to get to today. We'll be joined by Ryan Shumpert of Rocky Top Insider at 1:20 p.m. Got a big game coming up. Third Saturday in October, which means it's time for Alabama versus Tennessee.
Oh, that's what happens every third October?
That is why they call it the third Saturday of October. It is the event. Of all
was
events.
there any day that it was? I mean, day that it wasn't the third?
If it was probably
October?
Before ever ago. Like, I mean, I would.
How long ago?
I don't know.
I think it just started like 5 years ago.
Oh, I think it's well.
No,
it just became relevant again about 5 years ago.
Okay. That's what you're trying to say. That Tennessee was not a competitor. They weren't rivals anymore. They were kind of more, stepchild or step little brother or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
For the longest time they were.
So what do you think is going to happen now? Ooh, it's a big game.
Well,
man.
I was asked
your
what
favorite son, Ty Simpson's looking Heisman-esque.
I was asked what my confidence level was. I said it's about a 7. Because, I mean,
out of 10, of course.
Yeah, it's going to be a shootout, I think. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. If Alabama's defense can maybe do something they have yet to do, which is stop the run, maybe it's a different story. But I haven't seen enough to have faith in Alabama's run defense that is going to be the case. And it's a really good slate of games. Like, this is probably outside the Tennessee-Alabama game. You got LSU coming to Vandy, number 10 LSU to number 17 Vandy. You got Oklahoma going to South Carolina, which is still going to be a good game despite South Carolina maybe not meeting expectations due to injuries and such. Texas A&M's going to Arkansas. Number 5 Ole Miss at number 9 Georgia this weekend. You have Mississippi State going to Florida, and there are rumors that win or lose, Billy Napier is fired no matter what, apparently, after this game, which is a wild thing. They were talking about it on 3HL, and I was like, but what if he wins by a lot? And I'm not saying that he will. That's probably a very slim chance. But what if Billy Napier's Florida team just kind of comes out and plays with their hair on fire for their coach? And, they beat the brakes off Mississippi State. And you're going to turn around and fire him right after that?
Yeah. Well, we asked Chris Phillips that same question last week. SEC Unfiltered, your good friend.
And he'll be hopefully on tomorrow.
Yeah, he'll miss today. He had something to do. But, he said that they were going to fire him anyway, regardless if he won or not. I was like, what? Yeah, so to your point, it doesn't probably really matter. I don't understand that, but I'm not, Florida and Strickland and the AD and everybody involved in that. But I think it's some heavy hitters, fun people who funded the program. They like, nah, this is it.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like Brian Callahan. It's going to be it no matter what happens at the end of the season, pretty much, unless you go on some crazy miraculous run, which rarely ever happens. But in this instance, you also have a 30-day transfer window that opens up when you fire a coach. So, I don't know. It just seems college coaches in that kind of situation seems like what's the harm in really waiting unless they've completely lost the locker room regardless. But right here doesn't ever seem to be the case.
Nah, they play hard for him, and he typically rallies the troops when they start off slow, and he saves his job every time. So I think maybe they're afraid that may happen again, and they just they want him there. They just want somebody better.
And Mississippi State's probably a better team than Florida right now anyway, so they may win anyway. So, but it's at Florida. It's not setting up to on the side of the people that are making this decision of whether he's going to be fired or not. It could set up to be a huge backfire moment for them, just because as far as PR and optics is concerned,
right?
Because you're going to fire Billy Napier anyway, but as far as optics, if you come out and win by 20 points in the swamp against a pretty good Mississippi State team, and your team shows a lot of fight, how can you look all those kids in the face? And how can you be...
It doesn't even make sense.
And how can you be the next coach to take over?
Ooh, that's tough, man. And then, by the way, who do you think they're interested? Almost like they know who they want, and they know they will get him. I have no idea who Florida is looking at if they're talking about Napier is out regardless of win or lose. I mean, man, I don't know. I'm sure they're going to get somebody good, but man, I don't know.
Could they be looking at a former NFL coach who has been...
John Gruden's been linked a lot to Florida.
Really? Him in Arkansas, I believe.
For a while now. John Gruden's been linked over there. But he's a Florida boy. Obviously he went to Tennessee, but he lives in Florida now. So I guess he's a Florida man. But
from when his time at Tampa, he probably still has his house from there.
He lives in Tampa.
Yeah. You also have Texas coming to Kentucky, which could end up being a good game, could end up being a slaughter. You never know what you're going to get with Texas. Obviously, Tennessee at Alabama, and then Missouri at Auburn, which Auburn has been super competitive in all these matchups. Missouri, Auburn, that will be a good game. A lot of good games on the slate for SEC fans out there.
Yeah, I want to check out this quarterback from Ole Miss. What's his, Chambliss?
Yeah, Trinidad Chambliss.
Yeah, it's a transfer from Division II.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Lane Kiffin had some comments. He better quit playing like he's still at Division II. Lane
Kiffin,
this dude is out of control, man.
He doesn't hold anything back.
I love it though.
Yeah, I do too.
I love it.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see what Texas does this weekend from the standpoint of their season technically isn't over. They kind of need to win out. But if that momentum from Red River continues and they kind of dominate Kentucky like we think they should, maybe they could be a scary team again, potentially going down the stretch in the SEC.
A lot of people also quick to say that, Lane Kiffin is who Florida is after down there as well. Ooh. So he's on the radar.
I'm seeing James Franklin on here.
James Franklin is another one. But Lane Kiffin makes sense because we talked about with the NFL yesterday. It's only a $4 million buyout for Lane Kiffin right now, unless he signs some extension with Ole Miss. So it's not that expensive to get Lane Kiffin. It's like $4 or $3 million when I checked the other day. Now, all this stuff is kind of fluid because those contracts aren't really well known for the most part. But, compared to other coaches in the NCAA, it'd be really easy to get Lane Kiffin.
I'm going to ask you a rule. Is there a rule that you can't transfer within the conference and be eligible? When did that come into play? At certain point in times, I know it doesn't now, but I think
there's all kinds of different transfer rules that's so hard to keep up with.
Yeah, I don't know if that changed now or not, but that had to be interesting. So So he's making what, $8-9 million?
Yeah, he's making a lot of money, but his buyout is
But what
lower.
do you think they'll have to pay him?
Well, they'll probably would have to pay him. I think he is making $9 million a year, if I'm not mistaken. When I saw yesterday, so you'd have to be paying more than that. But they may, because it's Lane Kiffin and it's Florida. That'd be quick to get you. Could you imagine maybe keeping DJ Lagway there, him not transferring out? Then you have Lane Kiffin and DJ Lagway down there at Florida with that recruiting pipeline and everything. I don't know. Be pretty. I
think it'd be
big.
pretty cool, and it sounds good on paper. But they're just going to get Lane Kiffin a raise.
Yeah. If you're Ole Miss, because right now Ole Miss is looking like it could be the best team in the SEC.
Right. Oh man, I would not. I would definitely step up to play for him if I had to. Just depending on how far they will go. But
where are you at on James Franklin?
I think James Franklin is an excellent college coach and a great recruiter. So that's X and O's. He could never. I have some really good friends that go to the Penn State games and are alum, and they call him Franken Beans. because they say he can never win against really good opponents, ranked opponents. So he could never win the big one. So they never thought he was going to ever win in the playoffs or anything like that. And so with this slide and then losing to Northwestern, I think that topped the cake. That was enough because he was always asking for more. And then actually the AD retired a couple years ago and gave him an extension. And they said that should have never have happened because he wasn't even up. There was no need for extension, but that AD was retiring. So there's a lot of people there that say, James Franklin always has his hand out, always comparing them to Ohio State and Michigan and saying the resources they have is not the same as Penn State. And Penn State would always be, no, it is the same. And he would ask for everything. Everything.
Do you think that maybe Florida could be a good fit or maybe even Arkansas if those are two spots for him in the SEC?
It's hard to say, really.
It would be probably two programs that could use a guy like him. But long term, what's your ceiling?
He's a great recruiter. Yeah. So, is Napier a great recruiter?
You're in Florida, he's recruited pretty well, but I don't think he's recruited as well as maybe other teams have in Florida.
Yeah.
So I just wonder if maybe, what the ceiling is, though, with James Franklin. You may be good enough to make the playoffs, but you never may win a big game. You may be able to make the SEC championship, but you probably won't ever really win it. But what the floor is. It's like a better version. Well, no, I guess Mark Stoops isn't the best example right now.
Josh Heupel?
Yeah, maybe Josh Heupel. I think Josh Heupel has a higher ceiling. We haven't seen it. That's a projection.
Right.
But James Franklin's also been a head coach longer in the big programs longer than Josh Heupel.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I see your point.
Real quick, it looks like the 21-22 season was when you could be immediately eligible to transfer and play within a conference. So it's been a few years.
Gotcha.
But do y'all think Arkansas would be a better type of school for Franklin from the standpoint of
low pressure?
I would say, yeah.
When he was at Vanderbilt, they didn't have all that pressure that Penn State had, and he, had Vanderbilt in the top 25. Could a school with less pressure attached to it be a better fit for him?
And I read somewhere that James Franklin, I think, has to actively look for a job to be able to maintain. And that doesn't mean he has to get a job, but to maintain the buyout payments.
Yeah, but a lot of coaches have that.
Right. Because I see a lot of people say, well, he'll just take time off. I don't think his contract specifically, I don't think he can do that.
Well, those people saying that didn't read what you read and I read. So, that's not the case. See, but they can easily say he looked into a job and then don't get a job. They got to give him.
I think John Robinson was in that situation, I believe. I think he had to show that at least he was actively pursuing something. Again, it's a very loose definition. Yeah. Then it could be like, hey, I put out a couple feelers, nobody wanted me, but here's what I did to try to get another job. But yeah, I think you're onto something, Ross, with James Franklin in Arkansas. I think that would be kind of a good fit because you can build. They got a couple pieces. You can build that program up, and the expectations for Arkansas have never been really that high. But you could probably at least make Arkansas football a way more relevant than really what it is now, if that makes sense.
If I was James, I'd also in his contract, he also has that if he gets a broadcasting job, that's just the same as a coaching job.
That's true.
If I was him, I'd probably take a year off, kind of settle it down, figure out what I really want to do and where I want to go and what I'm targeting.
I mean, he'd be pretty good in broadcasting, too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's got the gift guy, but he's a great salesman.
Yeah. I bet that would be really good. Let's go to the phones real quick. Let's go to Larissa. Larissa, you're on Blaine and Zach.
Larissa, what's going on?
Hi. Blaine, stop.
Yeah, this is early
today. Hi, guys. How's the day going for all of you?
It's going good.
Yeah, we got some Hattie B's chicken the guys left for me, so I'm excited about that.
I heard they had 2 buckets. So, but real quickly, this is going to be a fun weekend in the state of Tennessee. It's almost electric. You've got the Tennessee-Alabama game, and then you've got Vandy at LSU, and then closing out Titans and the Pats. And Mike Vrabel may not come on, he's a coach, and he is a competitor. And think that through. Imagine you got fired, you walked the firing line, and now you're coming back. The guy that came after you got fired. So he may tell his entire team, oh, this isn't a big deal. This isn't a big game. Yes, it is. And if you're a sports fan, these are hot tickets, folks.
Oh, yeah.
Seats. I mean, Nashville is in the building, in the sports arena, not to mention the coaches. I mean, Franklin, you, honey, none of us know what's going to happen, and this is what makes us love sports, period. I'm going to hang up and listen because, as usual, my dog is interrupting me. He's the boss.
Yeah.
All right.
You said that, Marisa.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah, I'm super excited too. I'm going to the Vandy LSU game, and then next day we're going to the Titans game. So to see Mr. Vrabel and the welcoming Southerners here in Tennessee should welcome me in, and then give him a butt whooping because I'm sure he's a competitor, as she mentioned. But he wants to beat the Titans more than anything. He may never say that even to his team, but at the end of the day, hey, I came back in the stadium. I was with the Eagles, and I wanted to beat the Titans with no questions asked. And naturally, I got a warm reception. But once the game started, I'm sure they wanted us to lose, right?
Right.
So, that one's going to be must-watch TV, and hopefully – in person, you like it. And see if the Titans get a bump. You just never
new coach
know.
bump. The Mike Vrabel letdown game could happen the same weekend. Just saying, let's leave that possibility open.
Blaine, I was going to ask, is one of those welcoming Southerners you just mentioned Zach Lyons or no?
No, I am not a welcoming Southerner.
I'm glad I didn't know where you were going with that.
Yeah, I'm not a welcoming Southerner.
Oh, my.
I'm a boo bird, if you will, I guess.
Oh man! How stressed will you be on the Bama Tennessee game?
I'll probably be more stressed once. Like I'm one of those people. It's like wake up the day of the game. That's when I get stressed. I don't stress too much up until game day. I'm just built that way. I'm wired that way because, of course, I've got this job now to focus on the disaster that the Tennessee Titans are. So I got a lot to take my mind off the game until Saturday rolls around. That's when I'll be basically at kickoff. I'll just be sitting there moving my leg up and down, like I was so nervous or whatever. I'll be like that all game until they get a comfortable lead, and then maybe I will.
They're playing at home.
I know.
When was the last time Tennessee beat them at home? Alabama.
Oh my gosh, I'd have to go and check.
That's a Ross look-up question.
Yeah, that's a Ross look-up question.
I'm gonna guess 2003.
Maybe.
No
this is a different Alabama team and a different Tennessee team, so I got to put it right up there. Look at you
trying to be all Mr. Cozy. It's a different. What do you mean it's a different? Yeah, every year is a different team.
It's a different team, but it's just a different style of teams, different cultures.
It's just this year Alabama has probably the leading Heisman candidate. Who's really hot at quarterback right now. They have, some really good receivers against a man-to-man defensive team who is going to give them opportunities to make plays because if you play all that man-to-man, eventually, guys make plays. They have a great passing scheme, too, by the way, with DeBoer on offense. So
Ryan Grubbs, I think, they signed him from Washington last year, and I do think that he's made some good strides.
Oh, okay.
All right, coming up next, we're going to preview that third Saturday in October game with Ryan Shepard of Rocky Top Insider. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. We've been talking about the third Saturday in October, and who better to get other than Ryan Shumpert of Rocky Top Insider. And Ryan, big game this week. The Tennessee Volunteers went for 264 yards on the ground against a bad Arkansas defense. Is that the key to the game for Tennessee to win is going to come on the ground against this Alabama defense?
I think it probably goes on both sides of the ball, who can run the ball better in this game. And I think you said it. I think that was the most positive part of the Arkansas game against Georgia, against Mississippi State. Tennessee struggled to run the ball with a lot of consistency, and they were able to lean on that against a bad Arkansas run defense. Obviously, the challenge will be much, much different in this one, but they need to be able to do that against the Alabama run defense that's been relatively vulnerable, that they face some pretty good rushing offenses, so you don't know how much to buy into the stats. And then on the opposite side, Tennessee's run defense continues to be pretty shaky. Can they slow down an Alabama rushing attack that really hasn't been great this year and put everything on the shoulders of Ty Simpson?
Deshaun Bishop, Jam Miller, both on the injury list so far this week, both the best running backs of their respective teams. What is the latest status that you've heard about Deshaun Bishop?
I think Deshaun Bishop will be out there. It would be, to me, a surprise if he wasn't able to give it a go in this game. So it's positive on that end for him. I think it's going to take a step back the back half of the week for him to not play in this one.
Alabama wide receiver Jeremy Bernard talked about the field of dreams that is the Tennessee Volunteers defense. And that sounds a lot worse than what he actually made it sound like. But Tennessee's defense is kind of weird, right? You guys are about to break like a sack record for the Tennessee Volunteers. I mean, you got a lot to go, a lot of game left. But the Tennessee pass defense with the defensive backs, due to injuries, has not been able to hold up. It's like a series either ends in an interception or a touchdown for this Tennessee Volunteers pass defense.
No, you're exactly right, and I think it's a pass rush that's pretty elite and a defense that hasn't at least consistently been good at a whole lot else. And I think that's a big aspect of this game, where Ty Simpson is about as good at throwing the ball over the middle as anybody in the country. Tennessee has not been very good defending the middle of the field in the passing game. Their linebackers are not very good in coverage. Their safeties have been very poor. They've struggled running zone coverage. So the alternative to that is running a lot of man, and then you're putting a true freshman corner in Ty Redmond either on Bernard, either on Ryan Williams, two guys that will probably go in the first round of the NFL draft the next 2 years. So it's not a lot of easy or obvious choices for Tennessee to defend this Alabama passing attack. And you said it right. Bernard's comments weren't as dramatic as maybe the quote sounds, but you can definitely see how he got to that point ahead of this game.
What is it like on the other side from your perspective about Alabama's pass defense and where Joey Aguilar may be able to find some explosive pass plays?
I think that's what I'm just curious about with Alabama's defense as a whole. Like, you look at the numbers, they're not very good against the run. I want to say it's like 13th in the SEC, right around 100 in the country, and they're great against the pass with, I think it's second in the SEC, third in the country. But they played Florida State, very run-heavy team, Vanderbilt, very run-heavy team, Missouri, very run-heavy team. So some of it's just you don't know how much that run defense is susceptible and how effective that pass defense is, just because of the teams they've played. So I wrote it earlier this week. I think both things are true here. I think this is the best pass defense Tennessee has faced to date, and I think Tennessee's got the best passing offense that Alabama's defense will have faced to date. So Tennessee's going to have to score to win in this game, which is something I'll probably say any game I'm on previewing, because their defense just isn't elite like it was a year ago. But I think they will have time to throw. Alabama's pass rush has not been great, and then we'll see if Chris Brazzell, Mike Matthews can win some one-on-ones down the field and create some explosive plays.
We're talking all things Tennessee Volunteers football with Ryan Shumpert of Rocky Top Insider.
So if you were, Ryan, a defensive coordinator, compare this defense to Tennessee's defense to last year's defense, and what are the pros and cons of both of those styles of defense? Because it's kind of shown how the DC is kind of change the style a little bit and going for more turnover sack, and you may be able to move the ball on us, but at the end, we're going to make some plays.
Yeah, it really is kind of a 180 in that way. They're more aggressive because of that. And look, I think they're definitely better as a pass rush, which is odd to say, given that they lost James Pierce and they lost Omar Norman-Lott, who was really good at rushing the passer from the interior, but they've just had a number of guys step up and have been more consistent when they've brought forward. They've been able to get home. I think a big part of it is, look, Colton Hood's played at a really good level, really high level this season at corner. Probably not as good as Jermon McCoy was last year, but he's played really well. But Ricky Gibson, on the other end, I think there was just a lot more trust in him last year than there has been in the young Ty Redmond with Gibson and McCoy injured. So I think that has affected how Tennessee's played since Georgia, especially when Redmond got burned a lot. That they've been tentative to, I think, roll safeties into the box and really make a commitment to stop the run because they don't want to leave Ty Redmond out on an island as much. And just as a whole, I don't know what I would point to because a lot of the personnel is pretty similar. The injury certainly didn't help earlier in the season, but this Tennessee team has not been able to stop the run. Not just like how they did last year, which was pretty elite, but even the first couple of years under Josh Heupel and Tim Banks, when even when the defense had some issues, they were usually able to stop the run at a pretty good clip, and that just hasn't been the case this season.
Can you give us an injury update? I know we got injury updates now in college football, so that's always kind of weird. I'm still getting used to it.
Yeah, it's nice, and I know Josh Heupel likes not having to talk about it as much, but for Tennessee, McCoy, Gibson, they won't play in this game. Ethan Davis, who's the second tight end, is questionable. He's one of the few guys that's kind of up in the air. But I do think that's important because Tennessee's, they're very thin at receiver, and two of their backups are hurt and are going to miss this game. So if they were to suffer an injury at receiver, I think they would have to play a lot more 12 personnel, two tight ends, and Ethan Davis would matter a lot more. So we'll see what happens with him there. Deshaun Bishop, I think will be out there. And then Jam Miller, for Alabama, it's concussion protocol, so it's hard to say. But it didn't look great last week, and I wouldn't think they'd be pushing for a running back to be coming back off of a concussion. So we'll see. He was questionable on Wednesday night, and I imagine will be at least today, and maybe we'll have a firm answer by Friday night or Saturday.
Speaking of injuries, like you said, the backup wide receivers, some of them are out, but Brazel didn't have in particular a big game or, a good game, but he had one catch or so. But will they try to get him more involved, or it's just kind of how Heupel runs his offense? It kind of just happens on its own, just depending on how the game is going.
I think a lot of it is just depending on the flow of the game, and I do think Arkansas made it a point of emphasis to try to take him away. A lot of, safety over top looks on his side of the football, and I think that ties into what we were talking about at the start, where Tennessee ran the ball better in that game than they did against Mississippi State. Mississippi State loaded the box and said, we'll live with you making plays over top, and certainly Brazel and made him pay in that game. Mike Matthews, got behind them once and wasn't able to haul it in. So, I think it's a delicate balance where Heupel typically is going to try to take what the defense gives him and not force a lot of stuff. But at the same time, I do think Brazel is just a different type of playmaker on the perimeter compared to some other good pass catchers that Tennessee has. And I think especially in a game like this, I think it needs to be a point of emphasis, even if Alabama is doing some things in their coverage to try to take them out of the game.
How would you analyze, I guess, thus far this season on the play of Boo Carter?
I think there's been some good and bad. Look, I think you see the athleticism. He's been really good rushing the passer when they've asked him to do that, which they have a decent bit, and they did a good bit last year. And he's had some moments where he's flashed in the run. He's forced multiple fumbles, but there's just not as much consistency as I think you'd like to see. There are two plays I can think of on Saturday against Arkansas. One where I think Tennessee forced a negative run play on first down, and it's second and long, and there looked like there was some sort of miscommunication between Boo Carter and a Tennessee safety on who was supposed to be in the flat, and it was just an easy out route for about 15 yards. And then another play on third down, I think it was in the second half, where Tennessee was bringing pressure, and it was just man on man, and Carter got burnt pretty easily for about a 20-25 yard gain on a slant that was just way too easy of a play for Arkansas. So there's moments you see the talent that is flashing, but I don't think there's as much consistency as you'd like to see.
Ryan, this defense we're talking about, but a bright spot for this defense has been Colton Hood, who is a cornerback that's getting a little bit of first-round buzz, maybe back in the first round. And on the other end of it is Jermon McCoy, who we haven't seen so far this year. What are their draft stocks looking like from your perspective heading into, I know we're months away from the draft, but here at we cover the Tennessee Titans this draft season always since they don't win games. But where are you at with how Colton Hood and Jermon McCoy's draft stocks have kind of shifted this year?
It's funny. I joked with somebody that Tennessee might, and UT that is, might end up having the worst pass defense ever of a college team that had two corners go in the first round.
Right.
Obviously, that's not completely fair because McCoy hasn't been out on the field, which is a big reason why that defense has struggled at times. But no, I think, look, to me, a big part of it, and y'all would probably know this better than me, but what I've read, it seems like it's a pretty weak corner class. It's not a great class at that spot. And McCoy last year, even coming off an ACL now, he played at such a high level that I think there's going to be confidence in him if he goes into these workouts, which, by the time it's draft season, he should be 100% cleared. If he goes out and two NFL teams physically looks like the same guy, I think he'll probably still go in the first round. I would certainly not expect him to drop any lower than the first half of the second round. And then he just played at a really high level. I think he has a lot of the tools you would look for. He's a pretty complete player. Some of the physicality he plays with, I think will have to get toned down a little bit at the next level. But he's been, I would guess, one of the top breakout type guys in the draft this year. So I would think both of them will have a chance to go in the first round, and at the very least should go in the first 2 days of the draft.
I mean, Brazel, Joshua Josephs, we got Hood, McCoy. Could Tennessee field 4 first-round draft picks realistically in this coming draft?
It's possible. It's like Brazel and Hood, and even Josephs to an extent. Those are, to me, feel like more fringe first-round guys. So I think things would have to break that way for all 4 to go in the first round. And so I wouldn't predict that to happen, but it's certainly possible. Josephs is a guy that I've loved for a while. He was really, really good against the run last year, and he's gotten so much better as a pass rusher this season. I think he's a really, really complete prospect. And, we talked about those corners. We'll see what Brazel does the back half of the year, but certainly it hasn't. His success has not looked like Jalen Hyatt's success, where it's just been a lot of getting open down the field and easy touchdowns. He's made a lot of really tough catches, both in the intermediate and deep down the field. So, I see that path for every single one of them individually. Do I expect all 4 of them to play out that way? Probably not, but, crazier things have happened.
We're about pretty much halfway through the college football season. What's been, to you, the most pleasant surprise or biggest surprise about this Tennessee Volunteers offense?
I think the biggest surprise would be the production of the receivers, and whether that be, especially Brazel. I just didn't see it coming. And Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley have both been good. I think they've both been what felt like realistic hopes for, all right, they make a big step in their second year. This is what it could look like. So they've been really positive, but I could have seen that coming. It wasn't shocking to me. Brazel being this much better and being this productive, I just didn't expect. But I do think, long term, not just for this team, but for this program, the changes Josh Heupel's made to the offense is by far the most positive. Before Nico left and and Joey Aguilar came in, and that really changed the conversation around Tennessee all offseason. To me, early in the offseason, that was my biggest question. Defenses have caught up to what Tennessee's doing with the veer and shoot. Josh Heupel needs to adjust, and it was one of those things where people said, do you fire Joey Halsley? Do you need to bring in new voices in that room, new eyes, new offense coordinator? And my thing had just been Josh Heupel's the offense coordinator. He's the one in charge. It's on him to figure out. And we weren't going to ever see any of that. They don't show us much practice, so we weren't going to see that in the offseason. But it's clear Josh Heupel has made changes to his scheme, changes to what he wants to do offensively. It really doesn't look at all like it has the past couple of years. And I think because of that, it's a big reason why Tennessee's offense is better this year, but I think it has provided, to me, a lot of optimism to think that this program can continue to take steps forward and not get stagnant where they've been.
The University of Tennessee obviously faced Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and we did our research, and Blaine guessed it right. He said the last time that Tennessee won in Alabama was 2003, he guessed, and it turned out it was an overtime victory back in 2003. So let me ask you this. What is your final prediction for Saturday's game?
Yeah, I think Alabama will win. I do think Alabama's like 8-point favorites right now, which typically would say like 5 points on a neutral site. If it was a neutral site and the line was 5 points, I would probably take Tennessee. But I do think, Alabama's a little bit better team. And the two things that really, to me, has pushed it over the edge in my thought process is Tennessee struggled on the road under Josh Heupel. They have not played very clean football this year. I think they have to do that to win on Saturday night. And then on the reverse, Alabama certainly is not the same Alabama under Kalen DeBoer that they were under Nick Saban, but they've been really good at home. All four of their regular season losses have been on the road. Obviously, they lost in the bowl game against Michigan last year, and they've been really good in big games. So Tennessee's capable of winning this. They're going to have to come out and play a clean game, but I'm just a little skeptical in them being able to do so because I just really haven't seen it at this point in the year.
Ryan, before we let you go, have you ever heard Heupel mention what his philosophy is on players to get injured and if you can lose your job through injury? And I'm thinking about the cornerback position, but because we don't know when they're coming back. And by the way, you could tell us if, when he's going to come back, the guy, towards ACL.
Yeah, McCoy, that one's the one that's up in the air. It feels like there's not a lot of certainty when that is. Gibson at the other spot, I would be surprised if he plays again this year. So, Tennessee hasn't come out and said that, but it would be a surprise to me. And no, I don't think Heupel's really, answered it directly like that, but we got a pretty good inclination of it year one right away. Joe Milton gets hurt in the game against Pittsburgh, second game of the year, hadn't played that great in the first 5 quarters of the season, and Hooker came in and played well, and we didn't see Joe Milton again until the end of the following season when Hooker got hurt. So, I think it is just from the past that we've seen it. Heupel, he'll take a job away from somebody if they get hurt and somebody comes in and plays better than him.
Gotcha.
Just real quick, you wrote an article just recently over at Rocky Top Insider about stories of some basketball commitments and talking about Rick Scott. Can you just tell me what Rick Barnes. Can you go and tell us what they were saying about Rick Barnes and everything and how his recruiting has kind of helped Tennessee?
For sure, yeah. Tennessee's landed now 3 commits in the last 16 days in the basketball recruiting world. And I think, most of those guys talk about how different he is on the court, like in his, he's very businesslike on the court, a very hands-on, hard coach, but off the court being very relaxed, not taking himself too seriously. Rick Barnes' faith that he's very outspoken about, I think has resonated with a number of kids, but I think they've also done a really good job, both Barnes and the staff. When those guys come in on visits, Barnes will watch film with them, and they have good cut-ups of, here's what you've done, here's what we've seen from you, and here's how we think you can plug into our system. And I think they've sold all 3 of those unique players on different ways that they can come in and impact Tennessee's team and like players Tennessee's had in the last couple of years, the similarities they see in their games and how they can help. So I think they've done a really good job with that, and certainly it's been a nice run for them on the recruiting trail.
You can read Ryan's article about both, I guess all 3, Ralph Scott, Manny Green, and Marquise Clark over at RockyTopInsider.com. And, of course, this is Ryan Shumpert of Rocky Top Insider, covering all things Tennessee sports. Ryan, we were greatly appreciated, and I guess try to enjoy the game on Saturday. Hopefully, roll tide.
Yeah, I'll do my best. They've all been very chaotic this year, so I imagine this one will probably be pretty similar.
There you go. That was Ryan Shumpert of Rocky Top Insider. When we come back, we'll talk about a little bit about Jeremy Bernard's Field of Dreams comment, and also what Willie Martinez, who is the cornerback coach for University of Tennessee, what he had to say about those comments is covered too with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
It was once said, do all good you can, by all means you can, in all ways you can, in all places you can, at all times you can, to all the people you can, as long as you ever can. And that's what owner Aaron Stokes has tried to do for over a quarter century. Hi, folks. It's Blaine Bishop for Eurofix. Eurofix repairs European vehicles at below dealer pricing. But what sets Eurofix apart isn't just price. It's the deep commitment to quality that keeps you off the tow truck. And Eurofix has clean, welcoming shops where you can actually sit down and relax, just like at home. Plus a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection to share with what's going on each and every day. And at Eurofix, you also get a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all repair work performed. And rental cars are available with appointment. 5 locations in Tennessee, Nashville, Franklin, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and Mount Juliet. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
Selling your home can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. Get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There are no showings, no open houses, no stress. Work with the #1 real estate team in the U.S. and close with confidence. Go to markspain.com today.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. There's a little bit of a media storm, I guess you could say, where Jeremy Bernard made some comments about facing the University of Tennessee defense. The Field of Dreams. And I didn't listen. I didn't listen to the clip until I got here. Did he make that on Monday? Is that?
It was early in the week, man.
And I didn't get here, and I heard it when I walked into the studio, and I was like, oh, well, that's not that bad. Like, that's not a big deal. But let's hear from Bernard on facing the University of Tennessee defense.
So Tennessee coming up this weekend, statistically, for whatever it's worth, they are by far the worst pass defense in the SEC. They're still winning games, but when you watch film of this Tennessee defense, what do you see? Do you see a lot of opportunities for you guys this coming Saturday night?
Yeah, I mean, they like to play, man to man, and they want to bring the house. So yeah, I mean, it's a great opportunity for our offense. They give up a lot of yards, but that's because they trust and believe in their guys to get the job done. And, for us to have the opportunity to go against man-to-man is a field of dreams, man. That's what, receivers want, those one-on-one matchups. So it's just going to be up to us to go out there and make the plays.
Yeah, I mean, nothing bad. And most Tennessee fans that have actually listened to the clip have said, oh, that's nothing really that bad.
Well, what'd you think, Ross?
As a receiver, he is completely right. If you play a man-heavy team, like, you're licking your chops. It doesn't really matter who it is.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's why I didn't think it. But, we're in that world, high school, college. I didn't think that. He may have went over and said it's a field of dreams. Maybe he could have said, hey, there's going to be a lot of opportunity, which he kind of said there. He just stopped it there and said, hey, man. He
says, like, it's a field of dreams. The receivers love going man-to-man.
Man-to-man all game, pretty much. Yeah, I think so.
Because he even said they trust their guys. Like, they bring the house, trust their guys in man coverage, but it does give up a lot of yards. And that's all true. But, I mean, again, is that really bulletin board material? If you're that seems like a stretch.
But I can see how people could.
Yeah.
You're going to hype up your guys. You got to get them ready now. But
I don't know if I could use that one as bulletin board material if I was like a competitor or something. Like, that's like, hey, that's not that bad. And he's true. But if I'm the DB coach, I'm hyping that up. He said, it's a field of dreams. He said he's going to just destroy you all game. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I definitely. If I'm the DB coach. Yeah. I'm saying that all day.
Well, let's hear from the cornerback coach, Willie Martinez, on those comments, because I have not heard what he has said, so this would be new to me.
Me either.
I don't read what's being said. That'd be the first time, I've heard it. I'm sure that they probably listen to stuff like that, or it's out there in the social media. We just care about how we prepare. We know that our opponent's a good team. Obviously, everybody that we play is really good, and they're going to be ready for us. We just got to be at our best when we play them, and they got great receivers. We know that. We faced them last year. They got a couple other guys too that are doing a really good job, and a quarterback that's hot. Simpson's doing a really great job of managing the offense and being very productive. So we've got to do a good job again on those early downs. Trying to get them behind the sticks to force the third down and longs and be efficient and the best we can.
Yeah, again, I mean, I think he handled it pretty well. That's all what you would hear almost 99% of coaches say regarding it, except for maybe Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin may have been the only coach to say something differently.
Blaine could probably back me up on this. He's going to say that in the media this week, that coach speak. As soon as they're in DB warm-ups on Saturday and they're in that huddle, he's going to be yelling, Field of Dreams, Field of Dreams.
I was going to ask you, he says that in front of everybody. What's he saying behind the scenes?
That's for sure. He's getting his guys hyped up for sure.
Yeah.
That was definitely coach talk right there. I probably would have said the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, it was his classic coach talk.
Dude, I would be in the business. They act like they just going to annihilate us.
Yeah.
What we going to say about that?
Right.
Oh, yeah, it's all week. The DBs would be just tired of hearing me talking. They'd be like, "Hey, man, we ready to go."
Why are you trash talking us so much? Especially today's players are probably like, "Man, you're really going in on us now."
Hey, man. So are they? You rather me or them?
Yeah. And I mean, listen, Ryan Williams, has had 2 big games so far this year, 165 yards with Wisconsin, 98 versus Vanderbilt. He was held to 0 receptions on 0 yards against Missouri. So, that's a guy that's probably talking about, Bernard says it, but Ryan Williams is probably looking across the way and say, hey, no Jermod McCoy. I'm going across the way, man to man. This could be my time to really put a stamp on this year's season so far.
How do you think he's played in his sophomore year? I know he got a little woozy, knocked out. But was that the Florida State game?
That was the Florida State game.
Man, he was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
A lot of people are really down on Ryan Williams.
He was messed up, man.
A lot of people are really down on Ryan Williams. Now, has he lived up to what I thought his jump would be from year 1 to year 2? Not really, but there's still a lot of games to play. I mean, he could still live up to all the hype. Now, that doesn't mean I have changed my mind of that he's probably one of the best wide receivers in the country or one of the best wide receivers when he comes out in the draft. I just said, man, it's a relatively, it's kind of weird to say when you have a 165-yard performance on your resume. A little bit slower start than I think what most people expected.
Yeah, well, that's what I was talking about, him getting knocked out of a game, and then that he had to work his way back in from a concussion. And when you're a route runner, because I've seen him have more drops this year than I ever saw all last year.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's not quite back to that superior, I guess, concentration that is just natural, because he was fascinating in his ballerina air charades all over the SEC and going up and having this balance that you haven't seen before. We just haven't seen that, this season and for whatever reason. So I just think hopefully he doesn't get back in his stride against Tennessee. But I think Tennessee's going to win this game.
Betrayal. This feels like a really big betrayal.
Since it's been 2003, eventually it has to change. I think it's time.
I think it's time. Well, I tell you
They've
what.
They've been really close there.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what it is time for.
Uh-oh.
It's time for Titans Ticket Thursday.
No.
Each Thursday before home games, we will be giving you a chance to win a pair of tickets to the next Tennessee Titans game. Of course, they're going to be facing the New England Patriots at home this Sunday. Be caller number 5 now to win 2 tickets to see the Titans host the Patriots at Nissan Stadium. 615-737-1045. Be caller number 5. Get you 2 tickets to see the Titans take on the Patriots. Coming up next, we'll switch to some Titans talk because I'm not feeling very good about Blaine's betrayal just now picking Tennessee to win. So we're going to talk about the Tennessee Titans, talk about what the players said in the locker room after yesterday's practices. We'll also talk about players that should and shouldn't be on the trade block. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop, Zach Lyons, right here on 104.5 The Zone.
Braves.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. And obviously, the Tennessee Titans have fired their head coach, Brian Callahan. Interim head coach Mike McCoy is taking over. And it sounds like already his fingerprints are on practice. Now, this is not to say anything bad about the way that Brian Callahan did practice or anything, but there seemed to be a little bit on some changes to practice. There's a little bit on tempo and all that kind of stuff that is going on.
What is on this mic, man?
Yeah. So, I hear a lot of people talking about the tempo of practice. There's a little bit more tempo and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like people are thinking that practice is like running at a high pace and like that means that they're going to be at high tempo or up tempo on offense and all that kind of stuff. But it sounds like to me, the way I interpret the phrase tempo when referring to practice is that they are practicing with a sense of urgency and focus, not necessarily a sense of, okay, well, they're going really fast at practice, which means they're going to be up tempo it necessarily means that they're going to be up tempo on offense and doing no huddle and all that kind of stuff. Let's hear from McCoy on tempo at practice. Then we'll also hear from Peter Skoronski as well.
Well, I think it's important to practice the way you want to play. And, we had a great tempo in practice today and getting in and out of the huddle. And because you're going to play the way you practice. And, my job is to make sure that we push these guys so that they play the way we want them to play. And so they did a great job today.
Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of take that as, they're playing no huddle or something like that. But I take it and interpret it as they're playing with the urgency and focus. How did you interpret that use of tempo?
Yeah, you just said we're practicing with great tempo. So that meant, just more of a sense of urgency. I don't get really caught up on the semantics. At the end of the day, I could care less about some freaking practice. When you're in the pros, at the end of the day, it's about what you do on Sundays. To me, once the season starts, you're supposed to be communicating amongst each other on offense and defense when you're going against the scout teams, whether you have high tempo, low tempo. It's an education time because you're implementing schemes and systems, and some of it is new to you in this game. So whether you're going up tempo or not, you got to have a sense of urgency about you, but making sure that we're understanding where your help is, not help is, when you can take risks. This is out there in practice. You got to be talking about. So to me, the tempo is supposed to be somewhat controlled to a certain extent.
Yeah.
At least for me, once you've been in the league, 3 or 4 years, the younger team, maybe you do have to, maybe it does transfer over with tempo and how they go about their business, getting out of the huddle faster, running to the line of scrimmage. I mean, to me, these are all things to me are just fundamental. They should have been doing this. As I said, you should have a horn out there about when you got to get rid of the freaking ball. Mm-hmm. I've been out there. I hadn't heard a horn yet. 3 seconds is up. Ball should be out. See, so maybe that's what he's referencing. That I don't know. I haven't watched them practice during the season, but practice is not like people want to think like you're going balls to the wall at practice.
Right.
That is not the case. If not, people are going to get hurt.
Mm-hmm. Because that's what people were really highly critical of Mike Vrabel was, is that his practices were too strenuous. Right. Now, that could mean, again, a course correction. Now practices have become way too relaxed. I don't know. Right. Like you said, we're not at the practices, and those aren't really open to the media except for like the stretch drills and a few position drills. But when you were talking earlier about that communication and all that kind of stuff, is that between players, or is that where it's coaches driving that conversation, or is it just all of the above?
Well, I would say all of the above. But to me, ultimately, it's your team. You're the players. You're the one out there playing the game. So you have to communicate amongst each other, make sure everybody's still on the same page, whether you're at the linebacker, the safety, to even D-line, where, if you want to jump in a gap that's not your gap to try to make a play, make sure you do it sooner than later instead of just waiting and then do it at the last minute because, people are coming downhill and thinking you're going to be in one spot or not. So I just think it's more about communication. Now, do you have some form of tempo at practice? Yes, but it's not. To me, you're like at 70%. Of practice tempo, not game,
right?
Not game. So to me, but things are changing. It may be a little bit different for this team since it's a young team trying to establish themselves. So yes, you do probably go a little bit harder than probably 70%. But it should be also time for you communicating after play, going harder, like what happened, whether it was right or wrong on offense or defense, especially in the trenches. You just want to make sure everybody's on the same page.
With Mike McCoy, so far, again, we're just probably we're not there at practice and everything, but obviously he's going to put his little fingerprints and DNA from it. And it sounds like to me, from the way that he describes everything, is that he's kind of a little bit more of a, I don't know if I would say like military guy or something, but I know that he used to have the reason why Phillip Rivers used to wear a bolo tie to press conferences because Mike McCoy implemented a dress code. But at the end of the day, it does sound like he's trying to he's done a good job maybe keeping the minds off the coaching changes, right? Like obviously players are probably focused anyway. Kind of sound like the players kind of knew, and we'll hear for some of the players, kind of knew this could be coming, maybe not at the time it was, and timing was bad, but they kind of sensed that, hey, we're losing games. Obviously, something has to happen when we're losing the games that we're losing. But it sounds like to me that at least Mike McCoy is keeping them focused throughout the week. Where are you at on asking players their opinions on coaching changes and stuff? I just am curious. It's just a thought that popped in my head.
Just play Cam Ward.
There you go. Okay, there's Cam Ward on Callahan's firing. If you want to get that ready, it's in the little file folder there for the audio.
Didn't say any better.
How does this change for you now that the change has been made?
I think from a day-to-day process, it really doesn't change anything. Not only from myself to the other players on the team. We still have our routines, the install, the game plan that we go through. Nothing really changed. I think the biggest thing is just you feel for him just because, like, what he's done for me to get to this point, just through the draft prep through the off-season training camp work, how he's helped me get to this point. And so I feel for him, but, I mean, just from a process standpoint, nothing changes for us.
What's your relationship been like with Mike up at this point, and maybe how you envision things going moving forward with him as the coach?
Well, it's been good. He's one of the first people to greet me once I came in on my visit here during my 30 visits. And he's had, history with good quarterbacks. Got a chance to work with Phillip Rivers over there. And then just the attitude that he brings to just the team, the building, and he wants us to play winning football. He's going to get that out of us. And so, we just got to buy in, come in together, with coach and make plays for each other.
So perfect answer, pretty much. Let me say this: Cam Ward may need to teach a PR class if he does. If the quarterbacking thing doesn't work out for him, maybe he can go into PR and coach players how to speak.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, people get to see real quickly that the NFL is all business. And if you don't bring your briefcase every day and clock in and do your job, you will not be there for long, whether you're a player or a coach. And that's all out of your control. I was listening to Buck earlier saying that Cam Ward should have an opinion about this. And I really thought, oh, no, he should not. Maybe a veteran quarterback.
You're right. That was where I heard. I caught the tail end of that conversation.
Nah, I don't think so. I completely agree with Lucas' assessment as far as what he was. He was kind of in the middle, but he was like, I don't think that's the way it works. Because if you ask him and then all of a sudden he tells you and you do whatever you want. So he really never had an opinion anyway. So especially being a rookie quarterback, first and foremost, he needs to make sure he establishes himself as a player in this league to have that kind of clout. So there's no way that they're going to ask a rookie quarterback like that.
Well, yeah, and even if they did, I don't know what answer you would get that would make you change your mind. Unless he says, I'm going to sit out. Then you're probably thinking, well, you're going to sit out? That's not going to happen. We know that's not going to happen. So I don't know. I'm with you. I thought it was I only caught the tail end, so I didn't want to, put words in mouths or something. But, Cam Ward's opinion really doesn't matter right now. Now, if Cam Ward is year 3 and has maybe a Pro Bowl under his belt or some stuff like that and has proven something in this league, then you'd probably care about his opinion.
His back. Yeah. I mean,
and there's a difference between caring and listening to an opinion and living and dying by that opinion. And really, asking him and then turning around and firing this team wouldn't have helped anybody at this point. Like if he said, no, you got to keep Brian Callahan. I can fix this. I can do it. And then you went around and fired Brian Callahan anyway, because it sounded like Diana Rossini reported on her podcast, Scoop City, said that this was from ownership anyway. So, I mean, at some point you can't weigh a rookie quarterback's opinion 6 games into the season about whether or not you should keep a coach.
Yeah.
Because he was getting fired anyway. I mean, maybe Cam Ward doesn't know that.
It's a mute point. I mean, I don't know why he thinks that the quarterback, I think he's overvaluing a rookie quarterback and what kind of clout they have in a locker room. That's not how I know they get all the attention. He's the number 1 pick and all that well-deserved.
And I know that he's shown a lot of leadership and stuff already, but I mean, still,
I don't know if that really even happens unless you're kind of, even more so a Pro Bowler, you're probably a Hall of Fame type player.
Yeah.
Like we can go down a laundry list of guys, I think, in the NFL to play quarterback to say, oh, did they run this by? Do you think Belichick ran stuff by Tom Brady?
Just if I would be very surprised.
I mean, no, I don't think he did.
I would say this.
I think he would go. Tom Brady would then go to Kraft himself personally, and say, "Hey, man, what's going on?"
I think the only time he would really go to Brady if he was maybe undecided. Maybe he would go then, but I don't think that maybe Tom Brady's the tiebreaker or something in some kind of discussion. But really, at the end of the day, we've seen Bill Belichick say it's all him. I mean, he makes every decision. He was the GM and the head coach. He was basically everything. Now, Jordan, that may be a different story. Jordan may be making all this decisions for Bill Belichick right now, but back then, I think it was all Bill Belichick, and I don't think he's going.
I'm going to turn around. I should have asked Buck, since, I know he's a big Vrabel guy, to say, hey, so if Drake May now would you think he would ask Drake May if they were only won 1 game? If Kraft came and asked him if how's it going with Vrabel?
Yeah, I'm with you.
He fired Mayo after 1 year, so he can do it.
Yeah. I thought it was very just odd, right? I mean,
I don't think if Kraft is going to ask Drake May if we need to go in a different direction.
Six games in for a rookie. And to ask them their opinion really doesn't make sense from any kind of perspective for me. And again, I think you're kind of onto something. Like, how often does that happen anyway? You kind of maybe gauge stuff, but I think you don't make decisions based on what players want or say. It's kind of like making decisions based on what fans want or say. I mean, you are hired to know what's best for the organization and how best to get your team to succeed. Now, does it always end up that way? Do you bat 1,000? No. But that's what you were hired to do, and listen to the players. Especially a rookie quarterback, I don't agree with that. You got some practice news?
Yes, from Jim White.
Who practiced? Who didn't?
It's just 3 players who didn't, and obviously we know Thursday is kind of a key practice, but edge rushers Arden Key and Draymond Jones were out, and then Calvin Ridley not practicing as well.
So no Draymond Jones today?
Correct.
But did he practice yesterday? Will you look that up
That's a good
for
question.
us?
I'll check.
Oh, yeah. Did you guys see that Vrabel signed the tight end?
He did. He signed Thomas Odukoya.
Competitive advantage.
Huge competitive advantage. Huge.
Hey, man, did they put anything new in? Brave, man. This guy, he is not even getting any sleep. He's watching film even if he is trying to sleep.
Well, coming up next, we're going to talk a little bit more about essentially big deal, no deal, small deal, how the players kind of commented and handled Callahan's firing in the locker room. And then we're going to talk about some trade assets for the Tennessee Titans. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here at 105 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door, 615-737-1045. You want to get in on the conversation. PK over at PK.com had an article written where he talked to 3 different players. He talked to Peter Skoronski, who we'll actually hear from, Chig Okonkwo, and James Williams. And there's about pretty much the sentiment was it was time for a change from Peter Skoronski. But I do want to read, because there's no audio for this, so I do want to read the quotes of Chig and James Williams, and then listen to Peter Skoronski and kind of do like a big deal, small deal, no deal kind of deal on this all these comments. Here's from Chig. We've been down for so long that in the NFL, you can't keep going with something that is just not producing the product. You know how it is in this league when you lose so much. Change has to be made. I didn't see it coming in terms of when it happened, but like I said, when you lose as many games as we did, it's on the horizon. James Williams follows that up with, that ain't my decision. I can't speak for them, but I'm pretty sure it was time for a change, and I guess it's time for us to adjust. We've got to play more complementary football. We've just got to eliminate our mistakes on the defensive side and continue to play hard, but play longer. We've been playing good, but we've got to play longer, create more, and make more plays for us to have a chance. Now let's hear from Peter Skoronski on what he had to say on Callahan's firing.
I'm not really the decision maker here, so I think I'm just trying to do my job and do the best I can. I will say, obviously, things were not working for us offensively, and so I think that change is not a bad thing with that, because obviously things weren't working well. So whatever that is, I don't know. I don't get paid to do that. But, obviously 1 of 5, not performing well offensively. I think that, I think it's valid to say in general that we need to change things up a little bit, which is fair.
I mean, I don't really consider this all a big deal. I mean, I know that some people are trying to blow this up as some big indictment of Callahan, but I think they all just kind of understood this is the nature of the business, and something has to change at some point to get things back on track. And sometimes it's people losing their job.
Oh, yeah. I mean, whether you're a player or a coach, somebody heads will roll if you don't win in the league. And for a period of time, obviously, they haven't done so well. So, yeah, it was bound to happen, whether you're an elite player get cut or traded. Will explain a lot, let alone a head coach getting fired. So, and his dad going with him. So that was kind of interesting to me in itself. Almost like people were reporting if that happened, head coach got fired, that his dad would go with him. I was a little surprised by that. I know a lot of people weren't. But because you sign up to do a job, and so just because your dad or your brother or somebody got fired, you're still obligated to do your job. So did he resign, and then now he is not getting paid? How does
That's
that
what it sounds.
work?
I believe it was reported that he did resign. Now I'll have to go back and check.
To check on me on that. But reason why I bring that up, I thought that was odd, because I wonder how much he was part of the play calling. And we all know he was part of the run game. But if you talk to the people and the brasses around the National Football League, they felt like the dad had a lot of clout on calling plays. And I don't know where they got that from, but this is people at the league office.
Yeah. I mean, I look at it this way, too, with this whole thing. Is this why I kind of find it to be a small deal? I mean, it's worthy to kind of discuss different angles and perspectives of all this. But, I mean, Amani Hooker even says they got rid of the coach, and if crap doesn't change, they're going to start getting rid of players. I mean, I think everybody just kind of knows this is the business of the NFL, and I don't think it's an indictment of Brian Callahan or how they felt about Brian Callahan, but usually change sometimes starts at the top in these situations when you lose as much as they have lost over the last 2 seasons, compounded by the fact they lost a lot the prior 2 seasons. So, I thought it was pretty interesting that they all just, they all said the same thing, but sometimes change is good, right? It could be the same message, but different messenger, and it comes across better.
Yeah, you just never know. That's, the best case scenario, I think, is they're hoping that this works out.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a minute. It's not going to happen overnight. Obviously, with his offensive background. So you kind of want to continue what you're doing. Maybe you just do a few different things here or there, and maybe it's about, you said Bo Hardegree still calling the plays.
He's still calling the plays.
I'm interested to see how much input he has when he says, okay, well, let's run here or let's run a certain play, because he's been a play caller. He knows how you're supposed to set up these calls and plays. And so that will be really interesting. But it seems like as though he's just going to be a game manager. The way he was moving around at the practice from the videos, I'm sure he's behind the scenes doing a lot on the offensive side as far as game planning each and every day. But I'm interested to see some tweaks. I'm interested to see we see some RPOs and some of the stuff you've been talking about, and maybe even some new wrinkles we hadn't seen. To maybe we do a little no huddle within the the game, and and sometimes
earlier in the game.
So I just what you want to kind of throw some curveballs to the defense all the time, because everybody's watching film. Everybody knows what you like to run and what your go-tos are. It's about execution. But when you're not getting results from that, then you may need to change up just to get them off kilter a little bit, then come back to your core plays. So I'm interested to see, because we were just looking up his stats from when he was a head coach, and he was in the top 10 in offense in passing, but rushing not so much.
Yeah, the run offense suffered. Now, they had a lot of attempts, but they weren't very effective. But the passing offense of his 4 years at San Diego, when they were the Chargers back then, they were top 10 in passing yards and passing touchdowns every year, except for one when he placed 13th in passing touchdowns. So that's still better than anything the Tennessee Titans have seen in a very long time. But now the rushing offense has failed. It was really more around 25 to 32 to 23 to 31, those 4 different years. And then you go to his defense, it was pretty much like 20th is pretty much where it hovered, which is something you can win with. But again, his first time being a head coach, a lot of people learn a lot and he's had a long time of self-reflection to think about how he would do things differently and maybe what changes he would make and where he went wrong. Now, does he enact those changes? How much because I can say I learned a lot, from prior relationships, and I'm probably still having the same bad habits in my current relationship. So how much does he actually learn, and how much is he willing to be that guy? So that's the big question that we have. Like, it's nice to say players over plays, right? It's nice to hear that. It's refreshing for us to hear that. But does he actually do it? And that's the thing that we have yet to see. And my hope is they do it. And if they do it, does it lead to a more competitive team? And how much does being a more competitive team that grows over the course of the rest of the year weigh into management's decision, ownership's decision in the hiring process? Because I do wonder.
Where I was going.
I know.
So if they won 6 games, let's just say 5 or 6 games. I think there's a
legitimate 5 or 6 more games, or
yes, to the date. So that means you finish
6 or 7 wins. I think there's a legitimate conversation to be had, depending on how they look in all those games.
Yeah, I think so.
And because I do wonder if there's a little bit.
If they don't go with him, then they'll just go to Matt Nagy.
I think that's the real issue. I think
everybody keeps saying Matt Nagy, Ross.
Everybody's saying it. I know it's an easy connection to make, but apparently, again, I've referenced the Scoop City podcast where they said that Diana Rossini reported that it was this was ownership's decision.
Yeah,
there was. I heard her talk about, and also James Palmer and Chase Daniels, they all talked about how many times they've talked to Matt Nagy since Chicago, how much he's talked about he would do things differently, and how much he's learned and grown as a person. And that happens, right? I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that Pete Carroll and Nick Saban and Bill Belichick and all these
Mike
Vrabel learned. Because I do think that stopping Cleveland probably is helping what you're seeing right now in New England. So I do think there is time away from the game and staying within the staff. Like, I think there is something to that, and maybe Mike McCoy has learned something from his time. I do wonder how much maybe Amy Adams Strunk maybe regrets firing Mike Mularkey. Now, she got Mike Vrabel, right? And maybe this is like a little bit of makeup calls because Mike Mularkey was trending this team in the right direction.
Oh, absolutely was.
So maybe she kind of regrets. Maybe I should have stayed and I did Mike Mularkey wrong and I should have just stayed with Mike Mularkey instead of going for the shiny new toy later. Maybe not. I don't know. That could be a little bit of a stretch, but I do wonder if maybe we're not seeing at least maybe... Well, Mike Mularkey led me to Mike Vrabel. Maybe Mike McCoy can lead me to the next guy. Maybe he can right the ship. I don't know. It just seems like history is repeating itself just a little bit here in this situation.
Yeah. How much do you think people with familiarity of the organization, like Arthur Smith, Jim Schwartz, I mean, guys like of that ilk, even Greg Williams, whoever you want to bring up that was formerly here in a lesser role, but not as a head coach, do you think they will get an opportunity, at least for an interview, because of that? Or maybe because the organization is kind of, I'm not going to say forced to, but the road is leading down there that, a lot of the prominent names maybe are not interested, especially with coaches with having success in this league.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll hold out one more year and see what's happening next year.
I think if they didn't have Cam Ward and maybe this was, all this kind of happened and you had a worse quarterback situation, maybe there would be I'd lean a little bit more like, okay, this is probably the 5th ranked job on if some jobs come open.
Right.
I ultimately, everybody's kind of said the same thing. We're not surprised that Bill Callahan's gotten fired, according to the reports around the league. We're not surprised Brian Callahan got fired. We're just surprised that he got fired when he did. So if you're not surprised, why are we up in arms about when they did it? If he was going to do it, at the end of the season anyway, and we all know that they're going to do it at the end of the season, we're like, what's really the big deal?
Mm-hmm.
There's probably, I don't know how many coaching position jobs are going to open up. It's still fairly early for a team like the Giants, right? They seem to have caught lightning in a bottle right now. How long does that last? We'll see. The Saints just, who are another terrible team, and the Panthers, by NFL's win-loss record standards, they got new coaches that are on the rise and everything like that. So you kind of look at Miami. What do the Jets do? Surely they don't fire Aaron Glenn. But you never know, right? You just never know, especially with the Jets. What do the Browns do? But there's maybe going to be like 4 or 5 positions. And when I look at it, Cam Ward provides you a lot better opportunity because you can't win in this league without a quarterback. Now, maybe that changes by week 18 and we were like, okay, maybe Cam Ward's not it. I don't think that's going to be the case. But would you rather have Cam Ward or one more year of Justin Fields in a bad contract and maybe to get your quarterback of the future? Would you rather have Cam Ward or Tua, who is definitely in a bad contract, who can't get out of his own way in press conferences in a totally different situation down there with a roster that's in desperate need of a reset? Would you rather have Cam Ward or who's the other one I just said? I just said someone else. Can't remember who else I just said that was. Cam Ward or Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders and that drama over in Cleveland. I think you would rather have Cam Ward in all these situations. So I think Cam Ward makes it the most desirable job, at least as of right now. Now, if the Baltimore Ravens comes open or the Pittsburgh Steelers come open, totally different conversation that we're having. Some surprise firing that's not even on our radar. Sure. But right now, I have the bottom dwellers that are trending in the direction to maybe firing their coaches. I think Tennessee's the best shot, and it's in Tennessee. No income tax.
Well, let's have some fun. Bold prediction from all 3 of us on who, this early, who will be the coach. We'll come back to this some other time, and then we'll be having different guys on the list.
So who we think is going to be the coach? As of right now.
Not who you want. Who we think. Yeah.
I think it's going to be Matt Nagy. That's did not make my top 10 list, so don't you all try to say that Matt Nagy's boy, but I think that's what they're going to do.
I'm going with McCoy.
You going with McCoy?
Yeah.
So it's who we think it's going to be?
Who we think it's going to be.
Who we think the organization, is going to hire.
I mean, the more I hear about Nagy, I think right now it would probably be him.
Yeah. But
I've been hearing Nagy a lot. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I was like,
I feel like, though, if they, maybe this is wishful thinking, but if they can convince Mike McCarthy maybe that they will just because of Brinker's connection to him, with just Green Bay and all.
I don't know. And also, can I just say something? Mike McCarthy seems like he's pretty enjoying not coaching.
That's why I was saying convince him.
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Well, he's been on the Pat McAfee show, and he looks like he's having a blast. But he did say something today on there. Now, maybe reading too much into it. But I just want to say that he does not like it when, now I'm sure nobody does, but he was very vocal in making sure that his opinion came across that he thinks it's a crap move to fire a coach in the middle of the season. So I do wonder how much does that, how the Tennessee Titans haven't done that. Maybe he's like, I don't know if I really want to come back to this particular organization. I don't know. I maybe just be reading too much into it, but I'm at least going to allow for the possibility for that, to maybe be the case.
I don't think he's been fired either time in the middle of the season either.
Right.
Like with the Packers, he made it through 2018 and Dallas 23 or 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see a coach on a show saying, that's crap, that a coach gets fired. Really, from his perspective, being a coach, saying you got 6 games to work with your number 1 pick, and that's all you got. Did you get a fair shot? See, that's what he's referencing to me. I mean, that's kind of how I view it. It's like, that's a crapshoot. You gotta give him more time. So I wish he would have went into a little more detail, and I didn't see it live anyway. But I want to say, if I'm sitting in his chair, I was like, man, dang, man, oh man, 6 games.
He mentioned that too. He's like, See,
I think that's more that
you got to give coaches time to learn through some of this stuff. Now, he learned a lot through last year. You think that would have been applied.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was like, he's just not a fan of any mid-coach firings in general.
Yes, that's kind of.
But, mid-season coach firings. But there you go. I mean, like that I don't know, something that kind of piqued my ear, sent the antenna up, was like, maybe he's not really approving of how management is flowing over here at Tennessee. You never know. Because he's going to be particular about which one he goes back into. He's not just going to take any job. If he takes a job at all, he may just be stay in the media. He looks very happy, healthy, talks a lot about his family and their sports and winning trophies and all that stuff. You never know. All right, let's go to Ed in Lebanon. Ed, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Huh? Yeah, thanks. Hello?
Yeah,
hello, Ed, we're on with you.
You ordering food or barbecue?
Awesome. Yeah, man.
Okay,
barbecue
give me some
from
too,
Brits. You
man.
need
Some
some of
ribs.
this. I'm telling you. Hey guys, look, I want to make a couple. I want to make a couple of points, and then I'm going to say something that I never thought I'd say.
Uh-oh.
But first of all, we have got. Look, the Titans have got to go out and find a guy that is a motivator, a hard ass, not somebody that hates to lose, somebody that refuses to lose. And I'm going to give you 2 examples of those guys. The Steelers were in a lot of trouble. They went out and got Bill Cowher. He came in, he changed the whole system there, and with his energy, he made them winners, and he left the team to somebody, a winning team, and they continued that. Next, you had the guy out of Miami came into Dallas, Johnson. Same guy. Motivator, took no crap from nobody, sent people away, brought people in. He ran his team so there's 2 more. And then he left, and what did he do? The guy won a Super Bowl. I'm saying this. If the Titans want to be successful, you're going to have to find that guy. Not a guy that hates to lose, a guy that refuses to lose. And what do I mean by refuse? It means if I have to get rid of people, we're going to get rid of people. If people aren't showing up to practice and giving their all, then we're going to get rid of them. Now, I know that sounds bad, but I'm giving you 2 people. And what did Dungy do? He left, what's his name, Chucky there. He left him a Super Bowl team. People that demand...
Well, I was going to ask him what guy you're referencing.
Yeah.
Maybe there's somebody still today. Those are all older coaches that are retired.
Yeah. Sorry, Ed, we had to go. When we come back, we're going to go and talk about a little bit about maybe what the coordinator said. The coordinator's press conference is going on. Oh. Unfortunately, we can't carry it because the Tennessee Titans won't let us. So there you go. But
I thought that was just Buck Show.
No, they did not lift the coordinator embargo for that. They did not lift the coordinator embargo.
Oh, my.
So coordinators still can only be filmed if you're there at the press conference. So I'll try to see if we can find some clips here from the coordinators. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
I'll never get to go. Hey, parents of high school athletes, is your star player sidelined by a torn ligament, muscle strain, or a post-surgery recovery? Getting back in the game shouldn't mean needles, endless meds, or long waits. Introducing the Athletic Recovery Program from Edge Peptide Therapy, a game-changing 2-month oral peptide protocol designed just for teen athletes. Using advanced blends, 2 powerhouse peptides, BPC 157, TB 500, as well as BPC 157, straight from the human gut is where they get it. Yes, supports tendon healing, boosts vascular growth, and protects nerves, as well as TB 500 reduces inflammation, aids muscle regeneration, and restores blood flow, all to speed recovery and promote cellular repair. Needle-free, hassle-free, parents, backed by science. No injections, no clinic visit, just faster healing so your kid can get back on the field sooner. We've transformed adult wellness for years. Now we're bringing it to you guys and our youth. Yes, the next generation. Families also will be provided trust with Edge Peptide because they're smart, modern, and effective. Both peptides are widely studied for regeneration power and helping athletes crush recovery without any downtime. So all you have to do is just give them a call. 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is last call for phone calls. Just real quick to wrap things up. Nick Holtz was at the podium today, and I thought he had 2 good answers to questions. That one of them is something that we have talked about yesterday. Talked about J.C. Latham's struggle in his first game back. The other one is talking about the Titans offense going no huddle or up tempo. Let's first hear from Nick Holtz on J.C. Latham's struggles in his first game back.
You know, when you're coming off a lower body injury as a tackle, and all of a sudden you've now just sat out for really a month, and some of those kind of things, I think, you know, that the speed kind of jumped on him a little bit, and maybe some of the just wear and tear as the game went on. So I think it'll be better this week. You know, he's, you know, moving better already than he was this week than last week. So I think those things, but really then when you don't practice for a month, you know, you lose some of the fundamentals and some of those things. And I think that's really where he kind of got in trouble a couple times.
Have you all been satisfied with the way that he's attacked it?
Yes, absolutely. You know, he's working, and, you know, he's, you know, I think a lot of guys maybe, you know, wouldn't have played or, you know, whatever, would say, hey, I'm not going to go until I'm ready. But he was ready to go out there and fight for his team. And, you know, I think he gave his best effort, and I think we'll keep seeing better from him going forward.
I don't know. Sounds exactly like we said yesterday.
Yeah, no doubt. That's what I said. I don't get it, man. Like, they thought he was just going to go back up there and be right where he left off. Nah, not a lineman for one. You're sitting, and then he had a lower body. So how much was he even running?
Yeah.
Like, initially,
That's
he
what I was saying.
Couldn't do too much of anything the first couple weeks because it might have been just rest.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he'll get back up to speed. But, man, to me, he's the best offensive lineman. Didn't play that way, of course, and actually come off an injury. So hopefully it may take him probably, I would assume, like 3 to 4 weeks if he stays healthy, doesn't have any kinks, to get back to form where he was when camp, you know, ended.
Because I don't think there was an effort issue on Sunday, do you? I mean, I've heard a few people
like
say that.
Because, you know, he can't, you know, burst off that leg like he wants to.
Right.
But
well,
I mean,
and they even
I
said,
just think people just need to know that he was playing injured.
Yeah.
And if you know that, then you can't critique him like he's not. But see, that's what happens, especially now with social media. Everybody is media. Even Ross, he's media.
He is media.
Yeah, he has an opinion. He can put it out there. Yep. Bang. J.C. Latham looked like poop. I don't care if he was injured or not. Then he should have went to the sideline.
I think Ross did tweet that out there. But I thought it was very interesting. Nick Holtz sometimes will drop a little nugget here and there. Yeah, and he said most guys would wait until they're fully ready.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to throw that out there. Most guys would wait until they're fully ready.
See?
And J.C. Latham battled through it for his team.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about.
Because I know there's like this thing like, well, he said he's fine, so that means we got to take his word for it. Well, a pro's not going to use injury as an excuse for bad play. We got to kind of think a little bit outside the box on some of these situations and use some common sense and say, did he look like he was 100% J.C. Latham? Because we've seen 100% J.C. Latham last year, and that did not look like him.
Mm-hmm. Well, great players are always going to think that they can fight through. And I said it's a conflict of interest from a player's perspective. Am I better than the guy who's backing me up? And sometimes it can fail you because maybe he would look at, maybe you shouldn't have, but you're going to give it all you got. You're going to, I mean, man, I play with a torn groin. Take my pants off, my whole leg is black. From groin all the way down to knee.
I've done this radio show sick.
So, right, exactly. No, it's the same difference, though, for whatever really job. No, I know, but at the same sense, like, you know, you think you can fight through, especially athletes. They feel like, you know, there's some parts of the time you think you're invincible, that you can do it. And I think that's where he was. And, you know, going against an elite player like, you know, Max Crosby, you're going to get exposed.
That just adds insult to injury.
Yeah, so it was tough. But hopefully we'll see him get better each and every game. But I wouldn't have held against it. I actually would applaud him and appreciate his effort as a teammate for even doing that, even though we didn't get the results we wanted from even his position, because we know that he didn't have to do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like, again, he's not on the practice report, by the way. He was not limited in practice yesterday. When that report came out, I would assume he's probably not limited today, but we'll see because it is a practice after an injury. But again, I will continue to say that, guys, he is playing through an injury, so he's not going to look like the J.C. Latham we saw last year until he's fully through the injury. And he may not be that way this year, but he will get better as the year goes on. Missed 4 weeks of practice, almost a full month.
For a big guy?
For a big guy, that's insane.
Tough.
That's
tough.
You're asking
he can get
way
out
too
of
much.
shape. Well, we'll get to see if Sweat plays.
Yeah,
we'll see how he looks.
And
my bad. He'll come out every other play.
Yeah, more than likely. All right, that will do it for us. 3HL's up next. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. And in the meantime,
and in between time,
peace.